Hey, happy birthday, Sir Paul McCartney. It's June 18th, 2024. Paul McCartney's 82nd birthday. Mazzy here. I decided to do this kind of impromptu, random, loosey-goosey Paul McCartney pulls. Just talk about some things in celebrating Paul's birthday. One Hand Clapping is the record from 1974, the live one. My copy is on the way. You order from the artist site these days, and you get them like a week later or something. I don't know why that is, but they don't ship them until maybe the day before, but usually on release date. So have not got my copy there. The reviews have been wonderful, but I just thought I'd look through some of my collection here. Now, I have been pushing this record since day one. Wings Wildlife. I think it's one of Paul's best records, and I think it's one of the few records of Paul McCartney's, the first proper Wings album, that doesn't seem dated today. Now, some people think it's lo-fi, it's not as great as Band on the Run, or Speed of Sound, or Tug of War. I think it's better than all of them. Subjective, of course, one man's opinion. I just think this gets better and better every year. I like the lo-fi sound of it, or production-wise, but it's really well recorded. Dear Friend of Wildlife especially, it just have this mood piece to it, and it goes on, and beautiful songs. Tomorrow, I Am Your Singer. Every song. You know, people like to mock a bebop, but I mean, it sure beats something like Mammooni out there. But Wildlife, amongst one of my favorite things. This is an interesting record. Let me find it where it is. This came out some years ago at Record Store Day, and this is the Ram Mono. Now, to this day, this is my original UK copy, first press of Ram. Probably his best record, and even when this came out, the critics weren't really, pretty harsh on it, but I think this is a fabulous record. Paul and Linda actually, Ram, and they put out a mono edition, a Record Store Day edition some years ago. I'm thinking this is probably 2012, 2013 when this came out, which is really interesting, having a record this late mono. So apparently it's a dedicated mono mix. I do have two copies, a sealed and a non-sealed there. Let's see what else I got here. This is kind of a fun project. This is a promo copy I got of Thrillington, Percy Thrills Thrillington. This obviously Paul McCartney, sort of novelty, big band in a way, tea music, orchestrated versions of songs from Ram. It's a fun record, and of course, if you're a Beatle collector, it's necessary to have in the Beatle collection. I got this from the McCartney people back as a teaser when McCartney 3 was about to come out. This is the Dice series that came out, the little dice in a pack, a little nice little promo gimmick, a teaser from right during or the end of the pandemic, I guess, that came out. An album that I really like, and I think it's going to need a reevaluation sooner than later. I think it actually got pretty good reviews, and I love the artwork. It's amongst my favorite cover art of Paul McCartney, his own paintings, and that is Egypt Station. I think this is a really good record. I think it's his latest late period great record. I just think there's a lot of stuff on it that's really good. Wonderful record. Various versions of that too on vinyl, of course. You know, the whole thing these days are the variations. A little silly to some extent, especially if they're just different colors, and then they wait 6 months and they've added a couple of extra tracks, things like that. I'm not a very big fan of that, but let's get into something a little more of my liking. Let's see, I like all this stuff actually, but this is, to me, possibly the best record McCartney's put out in the last quarter century. What year did this come out? And this, Paul McCartney in Youth, and this is Electric Arguments. This is the third of the Fireman record. Fireman's the project McCartney did over several years. Originally only on CD. I think actually one of them is rare on vinyl. I don't have either of the first two on vinyl. Fireman. Fireman is the ambient project he did with Youth from Killing Joke, who acted as a co-producer on it, plays some instrument. But this is, out of the three, this is the one that's the proper songs, where they recorded, conceived and recorded one song a day for the duration of this record. This is a fantastic record. I love this record. It's kind of hard to find on vinyl these days. I think, we all want the McCartney Archive series, the big CD box sets, to be continued. They haven't yet completed the 1970s with London Town, and what's the other one? London Town and, oh gosh. Here it is. This one. Back to the Egg. I like this record. I think this is the band that he was taking to Germany when he got busted there in 1980. I like Back to the Egg quite a bit. I think those two need to come out first, but I would love an archive series of the Fireman and add a lot of extra ambient stuff. I think the ambient records, the CDs, are really good. It's a mood piece. I mean, he put them under the name Fireman, and of course the first one was Rushes In, as in Fireman Rushes In. Get it? See what he did there? This one, I think if they had called this a proper Paul McCartney 3, this could have been Paul McCartney 3 almost. I think it would have been a bigger seller, and it could have been a big hit for Paul. But his records do pretty well. Let's see, what else do I get here? Now, this is an interesting thing. This is Twin Freaks, various remixes done of Paul things, esoteric project, but a really cool record. Ambient, mixology in a way. What do they call that when they take different things and they rework the songs? So many parts and pieces. I can't remember what came with what now. Of course, it has the great artwork of Paul as well. But this is a cool thing that was put out. I believe this came out in 2005. But you don't see this. It didn't, this is that period of time when CDs were heyday, but they did some kind of cool releases with this. Now this too. Metal Over the Kill metal box. This kind of looks like Elon Musk's new SUV. It's kind of like that, Paul. Oh, so heavy. It's really heavy. But this is the Fireman box. So have several versions of that, which has other things in it. Look it up. I don't want to sit in here and show all the components there. What else do we have? When I first went to London, it was 1978, my very first trip. And in the car, on the way, my friend picked me up at Heathrow. And in the car on the way, I heard two songs in the car. I don't think I heard either of them. The first one was Wuthering Heights, and I got turned on to Kate Bush. The next day I went and bought, what did I buy? I bought the Kate Bush single, Wuthering Heights. I just thought it was great. HMV, I believe. Or is it Virgin on Oxford Street? But I also heard With a Little Luck. And I bought, even though I got the album when I got home, I bought this is my original UK first press copy of London Town. As I said, this should be part of the archive series. This is, again, another of the trio things. Some great songs by Denny Laine. This is a really good record. With Little Luck is a great single, but even the folk things on here, like Deliver Your Children by Denny Laine, Backwards Traveler, Cufflinks, Girlfriend. Didn't Michael Jackson cover that song eventually on Off the Wall? Am I misremembering that? I don't remember, but can't wait to go to London again, see the Tower Bridge there. But even though looks like I'm not sure if that's a real picture. It looks like it's a composited photograph. But either way, it's London Town. I mean, come on. Come on, I love London. Big, 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 big fan. Let's see what we else. Just other things randomly. Paul McCartney's one of his. This is his orchestral debut. Ocean's Kingdom, did a series of orchestrated pieces, collaborated with some who actually could compose it and notate what he was writing out on the piano and different instruments. The Amoeba. This is the later pressing. I have the original as well. This is the record store day one. I have a friend who called me up that morning when this was happening. Literally, he called me about 8 in the morning. Says, Paul's playing here. Can you get down here? I have a wristband for you. I couldn't get a ticket and get to LA fast enough, and I just kind of didn't do it. I don't know if I could have made it, but probably not. It would have been really tight, but I would have loved to have seen that there. I think, okay, here's something. Spies Like Us, the 12-inch from the movie. First of all, terrible movie with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase. Terrible, terrible song. Hate this. But when you're a Beatle fan, you're a completist, you get this. Now, here's a bunch of 12 inches. I really liked the 12-inch things. This is Once Upon a Time Long Ago, 12-inch with Back of My Feet. This is extended remix. This is a UK copy as well. Wasn't this a song that was maybe in the, oh God, what's that movie? Heaven Can Wait, maybe? No, one of those movies. That was in the background. You hardly even heard it in the movie. I think it's one of the movies there by Warren Beatty, maybe. Could be wrong about that. Of course, I could read it here. It also has Lottie Miss Claudia in Kansas City, McCartney covers on here. This is from Press to Play. This is Press, a 12-inch single. I like all these 12-inch singles. Period of time, he was doing a lot of them. This one, this is wonderful record too. I love this record. This is from Flowers in the Dirt. This is so George Harrison with his Krishna artwork. So it's kind of interesting to see McCartney visiting that. The Girl Is Mine. I'm not a fighter, Paul. I'm a lover. Paul and Michael. Of course, Say. This is a Record Store Day later issue. I'm sure I have. These aren't in any order here, unfortunately. Of course, Good Night Tonight. You know, everybody and their brother went disco for a period. All the Legacy Act did their turn at disco. I think this is interesting. I don't love it, but I think it's an interesting mix. And the extended version. Of course, when Maybe I'm Amazed came out, the version here, the single from Wings Over America, is probably the definitive version, maybe, better than the original studio version. Of course, the great Temporary Secretary from McCartney 2, 1980. People either love this song or they can't stand this song. I quite like it. I think it's a nice experimental thing. And also a Secret Friend on here, a non-LP cut. So many things to show. Susie and the Red Stripes. Is red vinyl or not? This one's black vinyl. I think the single I have, the 7-inch, is a black vinyl. This is sort of the side project, which is basically Wings, more or less. But Linda McCartney led Susie and the Red Stripes. You can see that on Epic Records. That's that period where he leaves Capitol, goes to Columbia, and then eventually he comes back to Capitol, to EMI. And this is the McCartney 3 variation. So many variations of this stuff, right? Let's see, what else do we have here? Then we have, okay, I have a little section here of just esoteric. Rock for Campuchia, Bryan Adams, Dire Straits, Peter Gabriel, Elton John, Howard Jones, McCartney, Simple Minds, Sting, Tears for Fears. We have the full concert for Campuchia, one of the benefit concerts Paul has. Not so rare, but this actually came out as a promo, and then it came out for sale. It's an interview record, not essential, but when you're a Beatle fan, I do have the original promo copy as well as this nice price budget thing. They put it out for sale because collectors were selling it. Another 12-inch figure 8 there. We're just doing a random little Paul McCartney birthday birthday thing here. Let's see what else do we got here. My Brave Face. That's the stuff he was writing with Elvis Costello. I love this song, From Flowers in the Dirt. And it's got some great, Flying to My Home. I love that. That was a B-side that was on the CD, EP, extended single that wasn't on the album. Love this stuff. Reste del Soleil, kind of another disco French ambient disco extended thing, kind of club mix. The whole club mix thing, like everyone else, take it easy. McCartney. Let's see, we got Pretty Little Head. That's from the Hurrell cover with Paul Linda on the cover. I like this. From Press to Play, that's right. I like Press to Play. Press to Play, let's find Press to Play here. I don't think that gets enough love, but it's quite a good record. Here it is. Hurrell, the photographer Hurrell was was the classic Hollywood photographers of 4x5, 8x10 large format. All these great romance shots of Marlena Dietrich and all the great Hollywood celebrities of the day photographed like this. And of course, Linda being a photographer and Paul being a fan, it was kind of great before he passed that they got Hurrell to do this cover. I like this record. I think this is one of his great records on this period. Hugh Padgham worked with XTC and so many other bands produced this, co-produced it, or actually produced it with Paul McCartney. Eric Stewart's a little on it. I wish he did more with Eric Stewart from 10cc. They're similar of vocalizing, but I think Eric Stewart in his own right was a great producer, doing a lot of the 10cc stuff, overseeing a lot of it. But this is a good Talk More Talk, Footprints, Only Love Remains, Angry. This is, I think, one of those records that has aged really well. And again, we all have our take on favorites, but I tell you, I'd take this over, a lot of other McCartney records. This is another one. So let's see. I think we need to end this. Definitely over this one. I think this is one of his worst albums, personally, Pipes of Peace. I like the opening track, Pipes of Peace, but I don't like this record very much. And this is terrible. This is like, because the movie's worse than the record. There's some fun things on the record, but why bother re-recording those Beatles songs? Here's an original copy before it was reissued of Flaming Pie. I kind of like this. And the whole concept of that album, the title from the old quote, Driving Rain. I didn't love this one that much, Driving Rain. That was sort of a turnaround comeback thing, but I didn't love it. Now this I like. This is the Mike McCartney photograph in the backyard of their childhood home. And this is Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. And on this, to me, one of the best songs McCartney wrote in the last 25 years on here is Jenny Wren. That to me is a perfect song, a la Eleanor Rigby, the strings, the vocalizing, that wind instrument, almost like not like an oboe, but that he plays on here. I just think this is a wonderful record. Writing to Vanity Fair, English Tea. It's very Beatley. Fine Line is okay. It's kind of nothing special. It opens up. But I quite like this record a lot. We're talking some stuff that's later, but not later. I also like this. I always call this the Starbucks record because I feel sorry for all the employees of Starbucks. This came out on, was MPL part of Home Music, which was owned at the time by Starbucks. Every Starbucks had the CD of this, and you'd go in there, and I think they had to play it all the time. I think the employees went crazy. But this is a good record. Dance Tonight is a fun thing. A fun little ditty, Mr. Bellamy. This is kind of Beatley too. House of Wax is killer guitar. I think House of Wax. This is when he was playing this stuff during that Amoeba concert that he did live that I notated earlier in this video. Of course, another one, Off the Ground. Pretty good record. I like this record. Anyway, I think I've seen McCartney almost 20 times over the years, including 3 of the Wings Over America, 2 in at the Cow Palace in the Bay Area, and one at the Forum, I believe, in at Los Angeles. So that's enough. Paul McCartney, happy birthday, Paul McCartney, 82 years old. One of the greatest artists of our time, who's made so many records, so prolific. So even if you don't like every album of his, every single album has at least 4 killer tracks. Then there's a lot of stuff that's kind of hit and miss. Some records obviously better than others, but I just like how he puts how he just keeps putting music out to this day, and all these various projects. So thanks for watching. Happy birthday, Paul. Mazzy loves you. James Paul McCartney.